First question says, write the number 30,050 in figures. So 30,050. 1,000 has 3 zeros. So the last 2 zeros are going to be 50, and then we'll have 300 before that. Then write 5,926, correct to the nearest 10. So 10th value is 2. So we'll round 2 based on the 1's value, which is 6. Since 6 is bigger than 5, that means we'll round 2 up. That's going to be 5,930. Question 3 says, mark the midpoint of the line ST. So to mark the midpoint of the line ST, what you'll do is you'll measure the line ST. Whatever the length of the ST is, you will half it. And the place where half of the length comes from point S, that's your midpoint. So approximately this will be your midpoint. But do measure the line and then figure out where half of the length comes. Question 4 says, shade 2/9 of this shape. So if we look at the total number of squares in this shape, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 horizontally, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 vertically. So that's a total of 36 squares. So since the root of 36 squares and in a fraction it's 2/9, so we need to convert the 9 into 36. How can we do that? Now we know that 9 times 4 is 36, which means we're multiplying this fraction by 4. Since 9 is being multiplied by 4, that means we need to multiply 2 by 4 as well. So that's going to be 8/36. So now out of the 36 squares, we're supposed to shade 8 squares. So the first entire row gets shaded, and then 2 from the next one. So this is 2/9 of this shape. So this question is basically testing whether you know what equivalent fractions are and how you can make two fractions equal by seeing what the lowest common multiple is. Then it says write 2/9 as a percentage. So to write any number, fraction, or a decimal as a percentage, we times by 100. So that's 200/9, which equals to 22.2%. A very common mistake that kids are still making is that when they're asked to convert something into percentage, they just write 100 underneath it. That's wrong. 2% is basically 2/100. But if they're asking you to convert 2 into a percent, then you times by 100. As you can see, both things are very different. To convert something into percent, we times by 100. To rewrite a percent as a fraction, you write the thing over 100. Question 5 says a night bus runs from 21:50 to 5:18 the next day. Work out the number of hours and minutes that the night bus runs. So we're starting from 21:50. So if we, from 21:50 go to 22, that's 10 minutes. And so from 22, we go to 23, we go to 24. Then the next day starts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 1 hour over here, 1 hour over here, 1 here, 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 and here. So that's a total of 7 hours. Then after 5, we're going to 5:18, which is 18 minutes. These are the hours. Seven hours plus 10 minutes plus 18 minutes. And that's basically 7 hours and 28 minutes. This is how long it takes for the night bus to run. Question 6 is, from this list of numbers, write out all the multiples of 11. So there's a difference between the term multiple and factor. Multiples are the answers that we get after we have multiplied factors. So let's say we have 2 times 3 equals to 6. 2 and 3 are factors of 6, whereas 6 is a multiple of 2 and 3. It's a multiple of 6 as well, but in this case, like, if we're comparing 2 and 3 with 6, 2 and 3 are the factors of 6, and 6 is a multiple of 3. So that's how we differentiate between multiples and factors. Going back to the question, we have to write down the multiples of 11. So that means the numbers that come in the 11 times table. That come in the 11 times table. So those numbers are 55 and 121. These are your multiples of 11. Part B says Seth has a non-calculator method working out if a number is a multiple of 11. He shows this method for the number 919281. Subtract and add alternately the digits in the number. Then check if the answer is a multiple of 11. As 22 is a multiple of 11, then the number is a multiple of 11 as well. So let's see if his method is correct using this number. So we have to subtract and add alternate numbers. So 9 minus 1, then plus 8, then minus 2, plus 7, minus 1, plus 9, minus 3, and plus 7. That's going to give us 33. Now 33 is 3 times 11. So since 33 is a multiple of 11, that means this number is also a multiple of 11. Then question 7 says the range of 8 numbers is 31. These are 7 of the numbers. Find the 2 possible values of the 8th number. What we need to do first is that we need to rewrite these numbers in ascending order. So we start with 16, which is the smallest number, then 21, 24, 28, 36, 38, and 42. So if the range is 31, range is basically maximum value minus the minimum value. If we say that the minimum value is 16, then our maximum value would be 31 plus 16. And that's basically 47. That is one possible value. For the other possibility, we can say that 31 equals to 42 minus the minimum value. So now we're assuming that we don't know the minimum value, but the maximum value is 42. So minimum would be the difference of 42 and 31, and that's 11. So based on this calculation, we can state that the 8th number can be 47, which is the biggest value in this sequence, or it can be 11, which is the smallest value in the sequence. Question 8 says calculate the square root of 5.76 plus 2.8 cube. Now 5.76 can be rewritten as 576 over 100 plus 2.8 cube. 576 is a square number because it's basically 24 square. And 100 is also a square number, which is 10 square. So 24 over 10 plus 2.8 cube. 24 over 10 is 2.4. So 2.4 plus 2.8 cube is going to give us 24.352. That is your answer. Then it says simplify 4m plus 7k minus m plus 3k. So this is basically collecting like terms. Like terms are terms where they have the same variable and the variables are raised to the same power. So we have two variables over here, m and k. So for m, we have 4m and minus m. So let's write that together. And then we have 7k and 3k. So you rewrite the expression by writing the like terms together. 4m minus m is 3m, and 7k plus 3k is 10k. So 3m plus 10k is the answer. Question 10 says, from the list of numbers, find the highest number possible from the product of two of the numbers. So highest number possible from the product of two numbers. So that means we can multiply two of the biggest negative integers. So -9 and -7 gives us positive 63. Remember, when you multiply negative integers, the answer is positive. If you multiply a positive and a negative integer, the answer is negative. If you had done 6 times 8, that would give us 48. That's not the highest possible number. Highest possible number is -9 times -7, which is equal to 63. Then the lowest number possible from the product of three of the numbers. So lowest and three numbers being multiplied. So in this case, we're going to multiply one negative integer with two positive. For the lowest number possible, the negative integer can be -9. Because greater the negative number, since it's going to be just one number, so the greater it is, and when you multiply it to two big positive integers, the final answer will be negative. So greater the negative value, the smaller it is. So if we do -9 times 6 times 8, that gives us -432. As you can see, its value is very big in terms of the digits, but because of the negative sign, it's the smallest possible value when you multiply three numbers. If you had multiplied -1 with 6 and 8, that would give us -48. Once again, that would be wrong because that's not the smallest possible number. -48 is bigger than -432. So to get the smallest possible number, you multiply the smallest negative integer, which is 9, with the biggest positive integer. That gives us the smallest value. So -432 is the answer. Then for question 11, it says that Sarah records the number of people who play golf on each of 14 days. Complete the stem and leaf diagram. So if you look at the key, the numbers on the left-hand side are the tens digits, and the number on the right-hand side is the ones digit. So based on that, for 20s, we have just 28. So 8 comes over here. For 30s, there's nothing, so we don't write anything over here. For 40s, we have 46, 49, and 45. So we write in ascending order 5, 6, and 9. Then for 50s, we have 50, we have 54, and 58. So 0, 4, 8. For 60s, we have a 64, 68, and 65. 4, 5, 8. And lastly, for 70s, we have 70, 71, 72, and 77. So 0, 1, 2, 7. This is our complete stem and leaf diagram. Then they're asking us to find the median. Now, median is the middle value. So to find the middle value, what we're going to do is we're going to see what is the total number of values. That's 14. So half of 14 is 7. Now, since it's an even number of values, that means our median is going to be between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's going to be between these two values, between the 7th and the 8th value. This is where the median will lie. So we do 58 plus 64 divided by 2. The reason why we're doing 58 plus 64 divided by 2 is because it's an even number of data set. So for the even number of data set, the middle value is not just right in the middle. Like it's not one specific number that's given the data set. It has to be between the two values that are right in the middle of the data set. So those two values over here are the 7th value and the 8th value. Why? Because if you look at the 7th value, which is 58, before the 7th value, we have 6 numbers. And after the 8th value, we have again 6 numbers. So the 7th and the 8th value are right in the middle of the data set. And if you find the average of those two values, that gives us the value that's right in the middle of the data set. So 58 plus 64 divided by 2 basically equals to 61. That is your median value. Question 12 says diagram shows the net of a cuboid. Work out the surface area of this cuboid. So to work out the surface area of the cuboid, we need to find the area of all of the faces of the cuboid. So for this one, it's going to be 10 times 4, which is 40. This length is also 10. And this length is also 10. If this is 5, this is also 5. And this is also 5. Since this is 4, this will also be 4. So these are the faces. So this is also 40. This will be 50 because 10 times 5. This will also be 4, so this is 20. This is 50, and this is again 20. So total surface area is going to be 40 plus 40. Then we have two 50s and two 20s. So that's going to be equal to 220 centimeters square. That's the total surface area of the cuboid. Then it says work out the volume of this cuboid. So for the volume of this cuboid, we need the length, width, and height. And as you can see, that's 10, 4, and 5. So volume will be 10 times 4 times 5, which is 200 centimeter cube. Question 13 says there are 20 cars in a car park and 3 of the cars are blue. James wants to draw a pie chart to show this information. Find the angle of the sector for the blue cars in this pie chart. So if 3 of the cars are blue, so that's 3 out of 20. And to find the angle of the sector, you times the fraction for the blue cars by 360. Because 3/20th of the pie chart represents your blue cars. If they're asking us to find the percentage instead of the angle, then you would multiply the fraction by 100, which we discussed previously as well. So this will give us 3 times 18, and that's equal to 54 degrees. Then one of the 20 cars is picked at random. Find the probability that this car is not blue. So if 3/20 of the cars were blue, the probability of the car not being blue would be 1 minus 3 over 20, which is 17 over 20. To find the probability of an event not happening, you subtract the probability of the event happening from 1, and that gives you the remaining probability. Then question 14 says, factorize 3x cubed minus 7xy. So when you're factorizing an expression, what we have to do is we need to see if there's any highest common factor present between all of the terms. Between 3x cubed and 7xy, we can see that 3 and 7 don't come in the same times table. So there's nothing common between the numbers. But the variables, there's something common between them. Both 3x cubed and 7xy have x. So if we split this, we know that this is 3 times x times another x, and this is 7 times x times y. So what's common? The x. So we write the common term outside the bracket, and whatever is left behind, that comes inside the bracket. So this is your fully factorized answer for this expression. Question 15 says, write AB as a column vector. So to write AB as a column vector, we can see that the coordinates of B are -3 and 4, and A is 7, 1. Column vector AB is basically vector OB minus OA. So OB is -3, 4, and OA is 7, 1. So we subtract the x value from the x value and the y from y. So -3 minus 7 and 4 minus 1, and that's -10 and 3. That's your column vector AB. Question 16 says that Vani changes X euros into dollars. She then changes the dollars into 17,850 rupees. Calculate the value of X. So we have 3 different currencies over here, and they have given us the exchange rate from euros to dollars and rupees to dollars. So if 1 euro is equal to $1.05, we need to see how much is X euros equal to in dollars. So first we start with converting this 17,850 rupees into dollars. 1 rupee is $0.013, so 17,850 rupees. We times it by 0.013 to get the amount in dollars, and that's going to be $232.05. Now from dollars we go to euros. So 1 euro is $1.05. So $1 would equal to 1 over 1.05 euros. So to find the value of $232.05 in euros, we will divide 232.05 by 1.05, and that is going to give us 221 euros. This is what X is. Once again, if you notice, they basically told us that she's changing X euros into dollars. And then those dollars were changed into rupees, which was 17,850. So now we're going backwards to find what those X, what was the value for that X. So 17,850 rupees are first converted into dollars by multiplying by 0.013. Then those dollars were converted back into euros by dividing by 1.05. So that equals to 221, which is the value of X. Question 17 says the line y equals to 2x minus 5 intersects the line y equals to 3 at the point P. Find the coordinates of P. So if it's intersecting at y equals to 3, so if both the lines are intersecting at P, we can put the lines equal to each other to find the coordinates of P. So 3 equals to 2x minus 5. 3 plus 5 equals to 2x, which is 8. And x is going to be 4. So when x is 4, y is already 3. So those are the coordinates of P. The diagram shows two shapes A and B on a grid. Describe fully the single transformation that maps shape A onto shape B. So shape A onto shape B is clearly a rotation. Since it's going backwards, that means it's anti-clockwise, and the angle is 90 degrees because it's in the next quadrant. And our center of rotation is going to be 0, 0. Whereas if we compare this point with the same point on shape B, this point has a horizontal distance of 3 units from the origin and 1 unit vertically. For the image of that, after the rotation, this point has a vertical distance of 3 units now and a horizontal of 1. When the distances swap, that means it's a rotation. So over here, since the 3 horizontal become the 3 vertical for this and vice versa, that shows that the center of rotation is 0, 0, and the transformation is 90 degrees anti-clockwise. Then it says, on the grid, draw the image of shape A after reflection in the line x equals to -1. So this is the line x equals to -1. So when you reflect shape A into that, these 2 points will come over here. Why? Because these 2 points are 2 squares away from the mirror line. So the reflection will be at the same distance as well. So there'll be 2 points away from the mirror line. Then the distances remain the same because the shape isn't enlarging or getting smaller. The only thing that's happening is that it's being reflected in this line. So now if we connect the dots, we can see that this is our reflection of shape A in the line x equals to -1. Then question 19 says the diagram shows a small circle with radius 7 centimeters and a large circle with radius r centimeters. The area of 16 small circles is the same as the area of one large circle. Calculate the value of r. So you have 16 small circles is the same as one large circle. So let's find the area of 16 small circles first. That's basically 16 times pi r square. Area of one circle is pi r square. So for 16 circles, we times the formula by 16. Radius is given as 7. So 16 times pi times 7 square is going to be 2463.0 centimeters square. Now, since this is equal to the area of one large circle, area of large circle pi capital R square, so that's 2463 equals to pi R square. So 2463 divided by pi square root equals to R, and that's going to be 27.9, which we can round to 28 centimeters. That is your value for the radius. Then 20 says the nth term of a sequence is n squared minus 3. Find the first 3 terms of the sequence. So for the first term, which is t1, we'll put n equals to 1. So 1 squared minus 3, that's negative 2. For second term, we put n equals to 2. So that's 4 minus 3, which is positive 1. And for the third term, we put n equals to 3, which is equal to 9 minus 3, and that's 6. So negative 2, 1, and 6. Then it says these are the first 5 terms of a different sequence. Find the nth term. So for the nth term, what we do is we start with finding the common difference. So we can see that 2 becomes 9 by adding 7. 9 becomes 16 by adding 7 again. Then from 16 to 23, there's another 7 being added. And lastly, from 23 to 30, we added 7 again. So we can see that the difference between each term is 7. So once you have figured out what the common difference is, next step is to multiply the common difference by n. So we assume that the nth term is 7n. If the common difference is being added, your 7n would be positive, like in this case. If the common difference was being subtracted, then it would have been negative 7n. So you have to be very careful about your signs. So now we assume that this is the nth term, and we see whether 7n gives us the same values as there are in the sequence. So for the first term, 7 times 1 is 7. Now we can see that 7 is not equal to 2, because in the sequence, the first term is 2. So to reach the same value, what we can do is that we will subtract 5 from 7, because 7 minus 5 is 2. So now if we use 7n minus 5 for the sequence and try to find, let's say, the third one. So third term would be 7 times 3 minus 5, which is 21 minus 5, and that does equal to 16. Hence, our nth term for this is 7n minus 5. So if you follow these steps, you can easily figure out what your nth term is. We just have to first find the common difference, multiply the common difference by n, then you use that as the nth term and see whether that gives you the numbers in the sequence. If it doesn't, then you have to change your nth term. You add or subtract something based on what the number in the sequence is, and make sure that your answer comes to that. And then you use your new equation to see whether it matches all of the numbers in the sequence or not. Then question 21, it says that the length L meters of a rope is 18.7 meters, correct to the nearest 10 centimeters. Complete the statement about the value of L. So since 18.7 meters is correct to the nearest 10 centimeters, what we do is, we know that 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. And 1 centimeter is 1 over 100 meters. So if we convert the 10 centimeters into meters, that's 0.1 meters. Now, whatever the degree of accuracy is, you always divide it by 2 and then add or subtract that to the value to get the upper and lower bound. So over here, our degree of accuracy is 0.1. So 0.1 divided by 2 is 0.05. So for the upper bound, you will add 0.05 to 18.7, which gives us 18.75 meters. And lower bound would be 18.7 minus 0.05, which is 18.65 meters. So it is smaller than 18.75, but greater than equal to 18.65. Remember that you have to be very careful about your units. As you can see, the length of the rope was given in meters, but the degree of accuracy was given in centimeters. So you have to convert the degree of accuracy into meters first, then divide it by 2, and whatever value you get, you add or subtract that with the length given to find the upper bound and the lower bound. Then question 22 says calculate the value of n. So if we divide the right-hand side, which is 5.46 times 10 to the power of 23, by 6.5 times 10 to the power of 19, we can see that n is the subject of the equation. So once you divide those, what you get is 0.84 times 10 to the power of 4. Now, since they want the answer in standard form, the first digit is a non-zero digit. Over here, our first digit is 0, which means we need to move the decimal over here. It's going to be 8.4 times 10 to the power of 5. You will add 1 to the power because you have moved the decimal towards the right-hand side. So that is your final answer. Question 23 says that triangle ABC is mathematically similar to triangle DEF. Calculate the value of H. So if they're mathematically similar, that means one shape is enlarged to be the next shape by a scale factor. Each length is enlarged by the same scale factor. So to find H, we can say that 159.9 over 118.9 is the same as 97.5 divided by H. Since AC is similar to DF, AC became DF when it was enlarged by a scale factor. So we can find that scale factor by dividing both the lengths. So in this case, since the scale factor is same, I put both the fractions equal to each other. We'll make H the subject. So 97.5 times 118.9 divided by 159.9. And that gives us 72.5 centimeters. That's your answer. Then question 24 says you must show all your working and give your answers a fraction in simplest form. So without using a calculator, we have to work out 1 whole number 1/4 minus 5/6. So first we convert the mixed number into an improper fraction, and that can be done by multiplying the denominator with the whole number and then adding the result to the numerator. So 4 times 1 is 4, and 4 plus 1 is 5. So 5/4 minus 5/6. Now, since we're subtracting fractions with unlike denominators, we have to make the denominator same. So to make the denominator same, we have to find the lowest common multiple. So lowest common multiple of 4 and 6 is 12. So that means we multiply the first fraction by 3 and second fraction by 2. The reason why we're multiplying these fractions by 3 and 2 is because we changed the denominator. The denominator is 12. 4 becomes 12 by being multiplied by 3. So if we're multiplying 4 by 3, we have to multiply 5 by 3 as well. Same logic applies to 5/6. Since 6 becomes 12 by being multiplied by 2, that means 5 will be multiplied by 2 as well. So numerator will now be 15 minus 10, which is 5 over 12. This is our fraction in simplest form. We cannot further simplify these numbers. Then lastly, question 25 says, the highest common factor of two numbers is 6. The lowest common multiple of the two numbers is 90. Both numbers are greater than 6. Work out the two numbers. So if the LCM is 90, we know 90 has the factors of 30 and 3, 9 and 10, 90 and 1, 45 and 2, and I think 18 times 5. So these are all the factors of 90. So it can be any of these numbers, but these numbers have the highest common factor of 6 as well. So we know that 30 has a factor of 6 and 18 has a factor of 6. All of these other numbers don't have a factor of 6. And since these two numbers are greater than 6 as well, that means our two numbers are 30 and 18. So that's your answer.